ASMR Coffin Radio.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Coffin Radio. I am Heartthrob Rob. Joining me is Zach Attack, and today we are talking about Spencer Elden suing Nirvana for the cover album of Nevermind.
AKA the Naked Baby.
He's the Naked Baby, ladies and gentlemen. He's that Naked Baby that's floating, trying to get that dollar bill and that iconic cover from Nirvana's Nevermind in 1991. Album turns 30. That kid is also 30 years old, and he's suing them for $150,000, saying that they've, kind of ruined his life, and he's had to experience this fear of everyone kind of seeing him naked,
and
child pornography, that they're enjoying his child pornography, and that they made his gag reflex go off so that he could look all crazy when he's going through there. And he's just wilding out here, and I think, I would say maybe 5 years ago he didn't have a leg to stand on for this kind of thing, but I think in this day and age, people are suing people and they're getting what they want,
I want to say something, but I shouldn't say it because of YouTube.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not going to say it with him in particular,
okay,
of why I would disagree with that. But I think it's just so frivolous that you waited too long. There's too much stuff that shows he thought it was positive for a long time. He recreated it like half a dozen or a dozen times during anniversaries.
Yeah.
Well, if it was so traumatizing, like, you wouldn't do that. It doesn't make sense. And that calling it child pornography is such a stretch that if you see that and you think, like, I understand some people can have a problem with the Naked Baby, but if you see that as a sexual thing, that's a you problem. And that I think he's just really mad that, like, he probably was Googling it and saw, like, how much the album made,
yeah,
or whatever, or how much Cobain estate still is worth. And then found out his parents got $200 for it, and he's like, well, I want $200. So
I think it's crazy that they have pictures of him, like, throughout the years at, like, 15, 20, 25, yep, like, recreating the picture, you know what I mean, in the water. For someone that was so traumatized about this, sexual predator in nature picture,
yeah,
you're able to recreate it. I thought was kind of funny.
All right, I'm going to say, he's white. He's not going to get it.
No! But I think it's kind of wild for him to do this 30 years later. You think maybe 20 years? I don't know.
Well, you'd think if it was that bad, his parents would have done it at 5. Like, they would have seen a trauma while he was a child at some point. Like 5, 10, 15, like when he first interacted with girls.
I can not understand, but, like, if you're, okay, I want to cast my baby in something, I get it. But, like, my child being naked on the cover of an album, I think that is kind of weird.
Yeah, I think they're terrible parents.
Yeah.
But it's not illegal. Like, I've seen, in Target and stuff, there's, like, naked babies, at times. Like, there's something, I don't know if it's under 6 months or whatever, but seeing it on TV, like, I know there's some point where it would be considered child porn.
It's just crazy. It's disgusting to even talk about,
Yeah, it's a really weird thing, because we've seen that cover, God, for how long?
Yeah, 30 years.
And I never thought this.
No.
I just thought, like, that's a weird cover to come up with.
That is kind of weird. And they said that it was, like, supposed to be like a prostitute trying to reach for a dollar, and that's the symbolism that they were trying to do.
When I think it was more supposed to, like, Cobain, it was more like the capitalism kind of thing, of that right as you're born, you already know you want to go for money, which is not a prostitute.
No.
And that makes sense with Cobain's worldview and stuff, and it really, where it's like, okay, when you sue everybody instead of a particular group, usually that's not a great sign for a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And especially with the small amount he was asking, because if it was child porn, there should be criminal charges. If there's no criminal charges, it's kind of hard to make that case.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for him to go up against the machine. I mean, you're trying to serve Universal Music Group, all these other entities that you're trying to sue. You're trying to sue Kurt Cobain, Dave Grohl, like,
with no public support.
No,
like,
not
if
at
you
all.
drummed up a ton of public support and people had really turned on it, like some things, have been turned on recently, cool, you might have a case, but I just don't see it.
I think 150,000 is a more realistic number than, like, I would imagine 5 million, because you're only going to get $100,000. But you shoot for $100,000, you're getting $12,000.
That's what I'm saying. He wants the $200, like, for inflation. He's probably hoping to get $5,000 out of the total deal, and there's a free payday. But no, it's one of those things where you can't sue. Macaulay Culkin can't sue his parents for spending his money, or any of that kind of stuff. It's just your parents get to make decisions for you until you're an adult, and you just hope they're good ones and not putting you naked. I would imagine, like, high school could be rough, where everyone's gonna call you baby dick, or something. But if you got through high school, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Or, hey man, look at this baby I was packing. What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
I was already flaunting it.
Who knows? We'll see for Spencer Elden.
Yep.
So we'll see if Spencer Elden wins his lawsuit against Nirvana for Nevermind.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you guys think, man. We'll talk about it in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and if you like what you're watching, then hop in the coffin. Follow us on social media at Coffin Radio.
I didn't almost fall.
Coffin is spelled with a K. Zach's gonna fall, and that's all for today.
That's what I do.
ASMR Coffin Radio.